Come on, somebody show up. We know you're out there. Come out wherever you are. Or as we used to say when children, all income free. Huh? No hide and seekers out there? Well, in that case, we'll go ahead and get started anyway. Welcome aboard. Hey, we got somebody out there. Thank you all, and a couple of you for joining us. Welcome to the Art of Fire, the contemporary glassblowing studio. I'm Bruce Ferguson. I'll be doing the narration and the camera work here, and we'll be getting started in just a few moments. And you can see on the display cable, hey, good morning, Barbara Belzer. Good to have you in North Carolina today, or Maryland, or where in the world. Okay, so we had the pieces from last week we made, and I'm going to find out in just a few moments who the winner of the diamond ornament is. I didn't get that information yet before we got started. We'll have that for you in a bit. So today we're going to have a few pieces made, and we'll find some ways to fill the time. Todd will be making a puff shoulder vase. And then a couple weeks ago, we were doing some commentary and talking about things, and one of you all in the comments said, that's certainly something you couldn't do alone. Unfortunately, I made the comment about, oh, I can make some pieces alone. And so they're going to put me up to the task today of making a pumpkin by myself. And then Todd will be doing a sphere made with gold and salmon colors. So that's what's on the agenda for today. They've got the color bits working up now. I got a feeling they're going to do an overlay here. Looks like Todd has got some clear glass, and he's going to shape that and start a bubble into it. Foster, in the meantime, is going to heat the bit of color. What up? Okay? Okay. My technical assistant here, Josh, has been manipulating something. Hopefully we'll have a good transmission this morning and everything. Well, good morning, Patrick and Joe from South Carolina. What part of South Carolina, Joe Marshall? Let us know. I'm assuming that's South Carolina. I guess it could be Southern California. It's not good to jump to conclusions. Although if jumping to conclusions were an Olympic contest, I'd be a gold medalist. Okay, so they've got the color bit heating up. Todd has the clear, and that's going to form the piece for the overlay. And this will help because, well, for a couple of reasons. One thing, it'll give us a clear interior to this vessel. And Barbara from Dortmund, Germany, welcome aboard. Okay. And from Iowa, Catherine Thomas. Wow. Okay, so Todd has a bubble of clear glass. Josh is just shaping up the heated color a little bit so that this will flow and go easily on. And this will overlay or be laid on top of the clear glass and then rolled down. So the color distribution then is a little more even. It also has the clear core, which means when he opens this vessel up, his jacks and other tools will be working inside on clear glass instead of color, and this is a little easier to work with. It also distributes the heat a little more evenly. So now they're talking about where they are in the process. Everybody's taking a look in the glory hole. Here we go. Josh presents the iron. Todd places it over the clear bubble and cuts it free. A quick reheat now, and you'll notice he was out of the glory hole for quite a while, and that allowed that clear glass to set up with a little more stability. Okay, and so now when he brings it over to the marver, he'll push into the marver, meaning going across. See how the glass now is covering more of his clear bubble. Because that clear core was stiffer, it provides resistance, and he's able to push it right up over there. So once he gets this heated up again, and well, thank you, Jennifer, appreciate those comments. Okay, so he'll get that heated up, get the color driven as far down as he wants, and then he can begin the process of picking up other colors and more gathers. Watch him push into the marver. As he works his way across deeper into the marver, that hot coating of glass just moves further down. What color is that, Todd?
It's a raspberry pink. It's an opaque, light pink color. And then we're going to put a couple of gathers of clear over that. This is going to have a gradation from a violet purple color all the way up to a cranberry pink on top.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be a nice little swirl we'll bring in for this. Is an Avalier piece, which we've done before. Commemorative pieces for health advocacy group down in DC.
Okay.
I'm fortunate enough to be able to work with a woman named Jen Mendelson and put these pieces together as 5-year commemoration. Thank you just for the
Okay, so now he's getting that fully covered. So the opalescent color would be a little more resistant to blowing out the way he wants if he didn't have that clear core in the middle. And also, when it comes time to work the inside of the piece, any tools that he uses will be in contact with the clear glass, and it'll just move across that surface a little better. And once you see the finished product, you'd never know the difference.
It also helps the colors spread a little more evenly.
A little bit of air, we'll see that enlarge, become a little rounder in shape. There we go. And then, as Todd mentioned to you a couple moments ago, he'll be gathering over this a couple times and then picking up a variety of frits. Frits are just granular glass. We buy it from the glass suppliers, and we can get them in different grains. Some of them are fairly thick and wide, some fairly fine. By mixing the colors, let's go over here and take a look at what we got. We've got a nice purplish blue mix, and as he said, there would be gradations moving up the piece. So as you take a look at this color here, this one here a little deeper, and this one here much more purple. Okay, so he's going to be gathering those in layers or bands, and this will help with the transition of the piece. So the winner of the giveaway last week is this piece right over here. We'll go over while Todd's picking up his next gather. This beautiful diamond ornament right here, Vanessa Smith Finlayson. So congratulations, Vanessa, and you get in touch with us and we'll get it to you. All right, so Todd has taken the first gather of clear, and this is going to help him build up the volume for the vessel. So even though he might be perfectly capable of picking up all the glass he wants for the finished piece in one gather, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. We're better off to take some, shape it, get a nice even bubble blowout, keep things under control, and then get another gather. What is this week's prize? Good question, Bridget Blakemore. What have we got for him? I see a puzzled look on. Show us the puzzled look, Josh. Come on, show us. Yeah. Okay.
No, I have it all planned out.
Well, somebody's the best unmade plans of mice and men. We're going to have an answer for you here in about 30 seconds because between Foster, Theta, and Josh, they'll figure something out as the giveaway. Todd, we're not going to bother with those details because he's in the midst of making glass. Joanna wants the starfish. How do we feel about the starfish as a giveaway, guys?
The giveaway is the starfish.
The giveaway is the starfish. There you go, Joanna. So, everybody comment, and we'll be giving away this starfish right here, okay? So your comments get you entered in the drawing. And as I understand it, it's not just like your name one time. It's like if you comment every time you comment, it's just going to go right into the mechanism that picks people. So we'll have a random drawing and a giveaway. Todd's now using a cherry wood block to shape the glass. This gives us a nice controlled shape to it. It also chills the outer surface. Gives you an element of control to that. When he points it downward like that, it's to let it elongate some. The natural tendency of the glass. Oh, you saw the post before they told me. Well, thanks for fessing up, Joanna. You'll still be entered in the drawing. Are the glass pieces above the stoves and sign new? No, actually, some of them have been here for an extremely long time. These guys right here, probably at least 15 years, and most of those over that direction too. The sign is fairly new. The sign is a variation on the ones we've had, but I think we got that one new last fall when we had just started up with the broadcasts.
So this is the one I had planned to give away.
This is the one
All
Josh
planned
had
out.
planned to give away. Okay.
So a nice little, it can actually be used as a reed diffuser.
Uh-huh.
Or just putting some, we call them like a grandmother vase when the kids come in with little flowers.
Okay.
You can throw them in the little
Well,
vase
maybe
there.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, next week maybe we'll give that away. Because we've already promised the starfish.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so Todd's got that glass settled up. It's nice and stable right now. It'll allow him to pick up a larger volume of glass, and the core will still be stable. So he's got these stripes, if you will, of frit laid out in a pattern that's going to allow him to pick them up depending on where he wants them on the piece. So if he brings the iron over and he's picking up the frit very close to the pipe, that's what will be on the top of the piece. You can see him stripping the glass off there and letting it burn itself away. So this will be the glass that's at the top of the vessel. Notice how he's reached further over, and the frit that he's picking up is concentrated right up in that area, up at the top of the vessel. He's going to straighten up the line with the card a little bit, perhaps separate it some. And when he gathers frit on the other end, the rounded tip of that, that's what will be the bottom of the piece. Well, we're glad to have you with us, Amanda. It's good to have you here. All right, so he's melting the frit in, and this will take a few steps here. But he's going to get the frit melted and the whole thing hot, and now he's going back to that same line. So you notice how he made it a little more crisp with the credit card? I don't know how much he charged on that. This is the area that'll be the middle. Notice how he's holding the iron practically horizontal. And this is going to gather in the middle and toward the bottom. So, 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count. Which one is going to be on the bottom of the piece? Okay, there you go. All right. So he's going to heat this up. He may go through that middle band again before hitting the bottom. We don't know, but we'll see. If you've got any questions about the processes or anything, let us know. We're always happy to answer that. He's back on the top color, a roll through that. Now the middle color, and you can see how it's really increasing the density. And because the bottom... All right. I really don't know what the star sending is all about, folks. It's a Facebook thing, and I don't manage Facebook. But it says comments sent with 200 stars or more will appear here. And I don't know. I think I pressed a button when I started the camera up that allowed stars to be enabled. So just take it for what it's worth. You are our stars. Now when he gets to the very end of the piece and rolls through the frit, that'll be the bottom there. And remember, this piece is going to be elongated. This sphere will be stretched out. So all of those colors will, it's donating money. It costs money.
So it's like a way to support.
What?
It's a way to support the streamer.
Dude, but if somebody's got stars, it means they're being charged?
No, they can give stars.
Okay, well, thank you all. I didn't understand any of that, but that's not unusual. All right, so now he's down on the tip of the vessel again. But at any rate, thank you so much. All right, so he's going to get all of the frit gathered in. So this is all part of the decorative process, okay? He's getting his colors picked up, okay? And then what he'll finally do there is melt them all in really well and start working on the piece. Sending, well, in that case, thank you all so very much. I was unaware of what the stars were all about. Okay, more frit for the bottom. So as you can imagine, when Todd inflates this and gets it so much larger and starts expanding the glass, that bottom's going to stretch out quite a bit. And that's what will give him a nice balance in his transition of colors. So the piece he's making now and one that he's going to make a little bit later are for a group called Avalair, who gets memorial and award pieces and has them for their employees, and their folks will call up and arrange for what it is they'd like to have made. So that's what he's doing right here. This is basically your custom order. When we roll the iron at the edge of the bench with the glass up and the iron pointed down, see what happens? The glass near the pipe thins out and gets longer. As he moves further down the piece, he balances the shape, but he also balances the cooling. So were he to blow, if he chooses to blow here in a moment, it's going to be an equal temperature throughout, a nice shape. It's got that kind of bulge in the middle. And that's going to be great to work with. Well, that's really nice, Amanda. I mean, I know that there are a lot of people that go to the Renaissance Fair not only for the turkey legs and jousting, but a lot of folks come to watch the Art of Fire. And we think that's really great. So thank you very much. Somebody said, is it toasty warm there? And Theta said she's comfortable. We are going to move Theta's desk over here in front of a glory hole. I'm kidding. That would be totally unfair. But it is warm in here today. This is well, it's going to be hot and sweaty in here. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, no jokes? Come on, no inappropriate jokes.
Okay, so now Todd's going to cool the end of that on a marver, and as he's turning in one direction, this is going to take those little dots of frit and stretch them into lines. It's going to move them around the piece. Notice how he's constantly changing the angle. Yeah, Bridget, that was kind of where I was going. You said, you bet it smells like roses in here today? Yeah, some rather ancient, nasty roses. Oh, don't worry, David. I would not seriously think about moving Theta into the
Smells
heat.
like roses and roses, dirty. Just leave that there.
Okay. Another sip from the faux coffee cup.
That's right.
Wait a minute. What does that mean on his coffee cup? 12-year single malt. Okay, so you can see kind of a diamond shape on the piece here. He's got it wide in the middle, tapered toward the top and the bottom. And that's going to help with the gathering. It's good for the balancing and everything. And now, after he's cooled the iron a bit, he's just going to let that gather, that parazon there, cool off a little bit more. Is he going to take another gather yet? What was the previous incarnation of the shop? A dairy barn. So there's a barn door at one end. A few years back, we replaced the barn door at the other end with nice glass doors. And along the way, you can see all these 6x6 posts.
Previous incarnation?
What's that?
Did someone ask what the previous incarnation of this place was? It was stacked full of antiques.
Oh, was it?
And it was the old stalls, the old milking stalls, the old dirt floor, everything. And I mean, floor to ceiling, front to back, side to side. You call and say, hey, I want to come search. They unlock the door, turn on the lights, and you just kind of make your way through and find what you wanted.
I wasn't aware of that part of it. How about that? But anyway, you can see all these windows along here. This is where the stalls were for the cows. And it was a working dairy farm for a number of years.
Yeah, and what's our road? What road are we on?
Hawkins Creamery.
Yep, and that's what the road's named after.
Yeah, okay. Just gathered up and going to let the glass drizzle off, strip it off in there.
The dirt cellar across the way in the house has an inscription from the 1800s.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I heard Foster mention it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I haven't seen it either. You may be lying.
What's from the 1800s?
You may be making it up. There's an inscription in the old dirt cellar.
Oh,
where
okay.
The well is,
Yeah.
where the pump is, from the late 1800s.
Said, let me out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me out.
Have you ever encountered any cow pies left over in the field? What's the purpose of dropping some of the glass off the piece? Well, primarily just to amaze you with the visual effect. No, that's a sarcastic answer. We get an idea. What? Sarcasm from this bunch? Yeah. So we try to get just the right amount of glass we want for what we're doing. And you can gather very closely to exactly what you want, but you'd much rather get too much than too little. If you don't have enough glass when you come out of the gather, you can't just take a ladle and throw some more on. And if you've gotten very close to the size of your gather and go back in for another full gather, you're really likely to have way too much. So if anything, we get a little bit more than we need. And if we have to, it's called stripping it off. And you saw how it just flowed right off of the blowing iron. The glass was so hot, it was just running. David Hogan says he speaks with fluent sarcasm. We've recognized that and appreciate it.
That's right, absolutely.
All right. We can use the wet newspaper to chill the bottom portion of the piece. And now, when he blows, the inflation will occur mostly from the midpoint upward. This is going to increase the volume, but allow him to keep a thicker bottom in the piece. You can see it increasing in diameter. He'll cool it a little more. And when we go in the glory hole for heat, you're heating the whole thing. You don't have much choice about that. The entire 360 degrees of the piece gets heated. There's the expansion in the middle, the tapered cone toward the bottom, and he's still able to expand it.
It's kind of interesting. You can really see the temperature difference between the colors.
Right.
And that just shows you colors heat up and cool at different rates. I mean, that's like a perfect example.
All by design, we
Absolutely.
might add. Okay, so now a little more heating, some selective cooling. Oh, back to the glory hole business. So, Todd's got the whole piece down in the glory hole, so it's all getting hot. If there's some of that he doesn't want hot, he cools it off ahead of time, or immediately after exiting the glory hole, he'll cool some portion of it. And he has a lot of choices as to what to use. He can use the Marver, the newspaper, any number of things. So right now he's going to use the Marver. Notice again, he has the iron inclined downward, and he's just cooling the tip or the outboard end of the piece. And that's going to cool that sufficiently that when he does blow, it doesn't get thin down there. He'll also be cutting a jack line in a few moments up near the top. So he needs some heat up there. Here comes the inflation.
This pipe is just a little bit longer, a little bit different, just enough. Crazy.
So with the three different colors on there, what they're discussing, what Josh mentioned a minute ago and what Todd's talking about, is those colors actually do absorb and release heat at different rates. So that, and plus he's got the interior core of an opal color, which is a little bit resistant to moving around. So he's got a really critical balancing act here. So when he comes back with the whole thing hot, it's a good indication. Have you ever inflated the piece too much? Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, and he's cutting a jack line in it, and he's doing this a little bit differently than you might have seen other times because of the weight of it. By angling the iron at about 45 degrees, the glass is going to fall toward the floor, but it'll only travel 45 degrees. If he held the pipe horizontal, as it is right now, and it got away, it'd fold over at 90 degrees, which would be a really tragic event. But by angling the iron over a little bit and twisting the pipe while he uses the jacks, he limits the amount of fall that the glass can move. You can see the whole thing is hot. He didn't cool any of it, and that's a good indicator that he's going to come back for more work on the jack line. The blades cut that constriction and create the shoulder, and you can see that Josh is moving the paddle around with him, and that shields Todd's hand from the hot glass. So now some time has elapsed. A little bit of heat is dissipated, but not much. He cooled the bottom with the newspaper, and now you can see the expansion of the middle of the vessel. Notice he still has that conical tip on it from the cooling. Now those calipers show you how long this piece needs to be. And we've discussed it previously, but typically what we'll do is make the piece a larger diameter than the finished product. Because once we start to elongate it using either gravity or centrifugal force, we're going to lose diameter. The glass is going to get longer. It had to get that dimension from somewhere, and that's at the expense of your diameter. So he got the whole thing hot. Now he's cooling the bottom portion, and now when he blows, he'll keep that conical shape toward the bottom, and here we go with a much larger diameter. Remember to comment. Comments get you entered in the drawings, and next week's prize is a starfish. We'll show those again in a few moments, and the Did I keep the piece of paper? Yes, I did. Vanessa Smith Finlayson is the winner of the diamond ornament from last week.
And it's already been packed up?
It's already packed up and ready to go.
Yeah, ready to
Okay.
go. Drop it off the
We
post
are
office.
nothing if not efficient around here. And like and share. Yes, that's correct, Bridget. We like it when you like us because, hey, we got that Sally Fields complex. But when you share, it increases our viewership, and we really love that. We like to reach as many people as possible. It's a lot of fun, too. We're having a good time with this. So now Todd is not heating quite as deeply. We can kind of see that he's got the piece about halfway out the opening, and that will not get hot enough to move so much. Now with a very gentle motion, he watches the response of the glass, and then when he's ready, he can be a little more forceful with it and simply go back for a little more heat and do this gradually. Now, he could have got enough heat in that piece to swing it out to about 6 feet long on one heat. He would have had a highly uncontrollable piece of glass that would have gone in the scrap pile.
Would have been fun.
It would have
to
been
watch.
fun. Yeah, it would have amazed everyone. That's like well, never mind. I'll say they are the most famous last words, but I won't associate them with a certain demographic group. But hey guys, watch this. Notice how the increased force, the centrifugal force there, elongates the piece, but still under control. So now what he'll do when he has a seat, he'll grab his newspaper and start to shape it, give it a nice line. When he's ready, he'll blow a little bit probably, depending on what the final shape of this piece is. There's his caliper check. And now our most scientifically named tool in the studio, the blow hose. Yeah, well, it's a hose you blow through. The advantage of the blow hose, though, is you can keep the pipe on the bench horizontal, use hand tools at the same time you're doing air. So you notice when Todd was blowing earlier, he had the iron extended out over the rail and the piece was about 4 feet away from him. Now he'll be able to have the piece right in front of him, and as he blows gently, you'll see it inflate, and he'll control the shape of the piece with the newspaper. So watch the middle. Okay, they're putting a cheater on the bottom. The little button of glass as a place to attach to later on. Do you guys ever think about the first ancient humans who figured out glass? Yeah, those were the ones that said, hey, watch this.
Yeah. Probably the same person that ate the first oyster.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you think about some of these things, who was the first one to eat a tomato after all the prohibitions against nightshade? I mean, that's either gutsy or stupid, or maybe they knew. Maybe they fed it to somebody else without their knowledge. I think it'd be hard to get somebody to blow glass without them knowing about it. How tall is this piece going to be? It's going to be as tall as those calipers right there, which I'm going to guess is about 13 inches.
That's what I'd say. 13.
Yeah. The only reason I'm able to guess at that is because I know that the annealer is 14 inches deep, so he's not going to go any taller than that. Josh is paddling the bottom. Todd is putting some air in it. You can see that the line has changed, okay? There's no longer that constriction near the middle of the piece. He's pushed that out some. He'll wet his newspaper, and then if he wants, he'll do a little bit more of that. So that's the real advantage of the blow hose. Oh my goodness, I'm getting the warm phone warning. So we got that last week, and it is getting pretty hot in here, okay? So somebody made the comment last week, Bruce, I'm going to need binoculars to see what's going on. Well, if the phone gets overheated and shuts off, you won't see anything. However, we have ways. And if you should lose our signal completely, please don't take off on us, because within about 2 minutes, we'll have another phone in place and ready to go. Also, on the suggestion of somebody last week, use an ice pack. I really don't know how this is going to work, but we'll try that in a few minutes. All right, so Todd's back now, and
We'll take it off the gyro.
hey, this is blue ice. Where did it come from? All right, I'm going to have the ice pack back toward the phone and see. Okay. With the bottom flattened and a little indentation to receive the putty. Todd will give it just a little more fine tuning. And let's see, I got to figure out how high there's the camera lens. So
I think in between we'll take it off the gyro, hold it against the phone, and you'll just walk around.
okay. Okay, so he's going back for a little more. File a TFOA report. That was Ted Scott says, file a TFOA report. I'm almost afraid to ask what that is. Whoop, I'm a little high with the ice pack there, getting into camera range. Okay. I used to work as an air traffic controller. No, not from Blue Hawaii, David Hogan. Blue ice that falls from the sky. Okay, now he's got the shaping. He wants that little bit of flare at the bottom. And we'll try to keep that blue bag out of view of the camera. Things falling off aircraft. Okay, thank you, Ted. All right, Josh is going to form up the putty. Todd's getting a propane torch over here, a little handheld map gas torch. He's going to give us a flash. And then when he comes back to the bench, they'll stick up the putty to the bottom, but while it solidifies a little bit, he'll be heating the neck area so that it doesn't crack when he breaks it. All right, Todd will take the putty iron from Josh, place it in the middle of the bottom, turn it. Once it's stabilized, he can cool it with a Sophietta. It's a cone-shaped tool. It's got a hollow tube, allows him to blow right on that joint. And then he'll heat the neckline and the moil a little bit. This is to give it just a little bit of heat, just so that when he breaks it free, it doesn't split. He's asking Josh how the connection is. Josh is letting him know that it needs a little more air. So they're going to wait just a few seconds. Notice how close Josh is holding to the glass. It's because he put the piece in the pipe cooler. There goes the water. Here's the tap. It's free. And Josh gets it up to the glory hole, and he'll start heating the lip. Sorry about that, Antoinette. A couple of people are saying they're getting better audio and visual than usual, but some people have been dropped. So we're going to keep plugging away. Okay, I was looking at the comments. What happened?
When he grabbed the pipe from me, he changed direction.
You trust? Oh, okay. Yeah, you get in trouble around here without giving a turn signal.
It fell a little bit.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I'm gonna do something.
What are we gonna do? Take it off of that, and then what? Hold that on it. Okay, we'll see how that works.
All right, it might be a little shaky.
All right, I'm gonna turn this off.
See how much coffee Bruce had today?
Yeah, for real. Yeah, we're holding this freehand now, folks. Usually we got this little gimbal thing over here, a gyroscope that keeps things well and balanced and everything. All right, so you can see he's concentrated the heat in the top of the piece. It's going to make sure that the body is straight and the shoulders rounded. And then he'll begin to open just a little bit as Josh uses the paddle to flatten the top. by using the newspaper like that. Sally Fox Tennant. Hey there, you guys. We'll order some stuff for the store soon. Sounds good. Okay, so with the wet newspaper, that's about as close as we can come to hand shaping the glass, because the newspaper allows us to get right in there and move it. Now, I know you're not supposed to dip a phone in water, but what about if you're melting ice against the back of it?
Should be okay.
Should be okay. It's not your phone, right? Not my phone. Okay. So we're now holding the ice pack against it, and I'm not getting any warnings. Oh, hey, last week when that was happening, everybody thought it sounded like birds chirping. Did you all catch the birds this morning? I didn't hear any of that.
The notifications.
Ah, turned off notifications. All right. By using the Sophietta now, he's able to puff out the shoulder area. Notice how his thumb is placed there. That's actually pushing the glass down and creating that little bit of a line there, sort of an indentation about an inch or two below the lip. Kristen Zumar heard the birds.
Oh, we did have birds?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we didn't turn it off.
I hear voices. Ah, people are commenting about the better picture and everything, and Theta says hers is the better phone.
Yeah.
There's the solution. Okay. Again, Todd heats the area he wants to work on. The flashes in between are simply to maintain the temperature in the upper reaches of the vessel. Again, combining the jacks with the paddle. We work that lip area, get the flare going. And watch how he puts his thumb right into that groove. And with the gentle pressure, he's kind of pinching that between his thumb and index finger. And with 2,000 degree glass, that's not something you could do with your bare hands. Alrighty, it looks like Josh is getting ready to glove up. They're going to take this off. If you hear the ringing of my phone, I apologize for that, but I got my hands full right now, so it's probably spam. I think it's time for my daily call extending my auto warranty. If they knew I had a 2005 Chevy truck with 285,000 miles on it, I don't think they'd bother calling me. All right, a little bit of water right into the punty joint, a tap on the pipe, off it comes, and here we go into the annealer.
All right.
All right, let's hear it for Todd. Way to go, nice job, beautiful piece. And we'll have pictures of that when it comes out tomorrow morning. Okay, so there you have it. These were the colors here. This was the bottom, this darker color back here. Here was the top, much lighter.
Cranberry.
And cranberry, and a mixture of blues and cranberry?
No, this is violet, amethyst, and cranberry, and then this is just amethyst by itself. So we get that gradation from purple to pink.
Marvelous. And the pink opal core.
Pink, yes.
Pink raspberry. Yeah, okay.
Nice background.
Very good. All righty. So be sure and comment, share, and like. Don't forget, you can check out our catalog online, artoffire.com. You can email us, artoffire@artoffire.com. Tricky, huh? Call us at 301-253-6642. And the diamond ornament has been packed up and already ready to ship and go on its way. But for the rest of you, that beautiful little starfish there will be the prize for next week. Alrighty, so am I going to turn this over to you now?
You're going to turn it over to me.
Okay. You want the ice pack?
Yeah, let's do the ice pack a little longer. All right. Well, now you have Josh behind the camera. Don't get that too often. Bruce is actually going to be showing us actually how to make a solo pumpkin. So we have his pumpkin colors out. I'm not sure who asked last week, but is it possible to make glass all by yourself? So we thought it'd be a great idea to actually have Bruce actually make a solo pumpkin for us. Hi Joanna, how are you? So what size pumpkin, Bruce? What size pumpkin are you going to be making?
Just a little one.
Just a little one? Okay.
Yeah, I have my grandchildren from Phoenix visiting this week.
Oh, very nice.
And first time I've seen them in a year and a half. And so anyway, I make little trinkets for them and stuff. So I'll probably give this pumpkin to one of the kids. So let me find what I need here in the way of tools, optic tools, and stuff.
Right.
Don't make the mistake of saying on video, oh, I could do this or I could do that, because that's what led to this. People commented a couple of weeks ago, I bet you can't, or I bet this is something you can't do alone. Where am I working? Todd's bench?
Yep, you're going to be working at Todd's bench.
Okay.
David Hogan said the Han Solo pumpkin.
Behind yeah.
But yeah,
Before we get too far in, I might as well share this.
But wait a minute.
uh-oh. Oh no.
I lost the crown on a front tooth the other day. So I'm getting it replaced, but in the meantime, I've got that hockey player look.
That's the only reason really we wanted him to make something, just so we could show him.
So I'll move on down here then.
Okay. So here we have, actually the yellow is the base for the pumpkin, and then we actually go into a cherry red, and then here we have the aventurine green that's going to be the stem for the pumpkin. Yeah, I know, right, Amanda? Oh no, Bruce. I think that's what, your third time it's fallen out? Is that the second or third time? Yeah. Yeah, Bruce does make some amazing stuff. While he's getting set up, let's take a quick walk over to the table. Once again, for next week, if you comment, like, and share, get entered for that beautiful starfish. And let's actually walk out to the gallery and we'll show you some of Bruce's nice pieces. I know, right, Barbara? Pretty sexy, Bruce. And this is actually one of Bruce's cane and calmos. And some of Bruce's taller and calmos as well. So he makes some really beautiful stuff. And his work is available in our gallery and also at the Renaissance Festival. Here's some of his nice and calmo bowls. So if you notice a theme of Bruce's work, he likes to make large vases and bowls, but really beautiful. Now, Bruce doesn't make any not nice pieces. They're all beautiful.
Doesn't make what?
Yeah, Jennifer said you're channeling your inner Alex Ovechkin.
Oh!
Yeah, you can hear the echo from Theta's computer from the broadcast. That's right. We got a little delay there. All right, Bruce. Actually, I didn't ask you. What size pumpkin are you making?
What's that?
What size pumpkin?
Little one.
So, okay, so it is going to be one of the small ones.
Yeah.
Hi, Kimberly from Elk Ridge. Welcome, welcome. All right, so this is going to be Bruce's first gather from the furnace. And it looks like that's going to be all the glass he's going to need for this little pumpkin. So we go through the yellow, and that's just it's a 0 size yellow frit. What's cool about it is you can actually see the yellow still hot from where he picked it up. And lots of the colors, when they heat up, they kind of go a little darker. Yeah, we need to. Thanks for reminding me, Kristen. We do need to make some more of those cream colored. Those were beautiful with the gold stems. I did ask him what size, didn't I? Yeah. It is hot in here today. Not so hot. So what, he picked up his second coating of the yellow, and that's going to be the base for the pumpkin. Now we're going to add this cherry red color. And when these two colors mix, they make a really nice orange that has a little bit of depth to it. That's right, Halloween will be here before you know it. And we love Halloween in here. You know, we get to make some fun stuff, so that's always a great time. Absolutely, Sally. We can definitely... I'll take one more run through the studio after Bruce has done this pumpkin, and we'll go a little slower through the pieces, let you see that feathered vase. There, Bruce just blew in cap, and he got the bubble about 2/3 of the way into that clear in color. And he's setting it up as a cylinder so he can then use the optic mold. So the optic mold is that tool on the ground. Get a little closer look. And that's what's going to give us actually that nice definition for the pumpkins. So into the optic mold. Bruce blows really hard. He was actually worried if he was actually going to be able to cap against the pipe with his missing tooth, but it looks like he didn't have a problem. Yeah, Ted, so we actually don't use the rounded ones. We actually found by the time it blows out, you lose most of the optics. And we found with the sharper optics, it gives us a little better lobes. Bruce is using the jacks, and he's actually blowing at the same time with his blow hose to inflate. And you can see it gradually getting larger as he squeezes down that jack line. Very nice.
Got that bottom done?
Solo.
Oh, totally solo.
It's the Han Solo pumpkin.
Okay.
The Bruce Solo pumpkin. So you can see it just has the bottom of that pumpkin inside the door. And in just a second, he'll use his jacks or the paddle to flatten the pumpkin. Kind of see the heat line, and just that very bottom's hot. They'll do some shaping and use the jacks to flatten the bottom. All right, so now that he has the majority of the pumpkin done, he's ready to transfer it or place it on a punty. And people ask, okay, so how do you do that yourself? Well, if you look around the studio, yeah, that's right. How are you gonna do it yourself, right?
I don't know.
So you can see we have these hanging kind of arms around the studio. And that allows us to actually hang the pipe while we go make the punny ourselves. And I'm assuming that's what Bruce is going to be doing, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
One thing you got to remember though is to get enough heat in this so they can hang for about a minute without cracking. But you don't want it so hot that it deforms. So that's why I'm just heating it a little bit, taking it out, a little more, still hanging, go.
So you can see him just flashing it in and out just to get an even heat. He hangs it. And now he's going to make a punty. Now if Bruce had the proper heat in his pumpkin, you can see it just kind of hangs there. It doesn't get longer or anything. He's shaping the punty. We'll slowly come around. He takes it off the arm, lays it on the bench there. And you can see it's not hot enough to fall, but not cold enough to crack. He attaches the punty. And then with a drop of water, it comes off. So Antoinette, we actually like to have our pumpkins that go in at the top. And before the transfer, it actually just comes up kind of almost straight. But we actually like it to go in a little bit. So we like to punty it so we can use a tool to actually push the top in a little bit. Yeah, it's a little different than most people make their pumpkins, but just, you know, just a different way of doing it.
Would you get me the skip winder?
No, do it yourself.
Like I said, it's been a while since I used the phone.
Yeah, it is fascinating. It's a really interesting process to work on your own. So you kind of have to relearn almost how to make glass and plan out things so you can work by yourself.
If I was making a couple dozen of these, we'd have everything in place and ready to go.
Yeah, Antoinette, you could definitely, when you knock it off, heat the top and push it in a little. But you can see Bruce is using a soffietta, and he gets that top to kind of curve in.
Yes, sir. Down there's fine. Okay. Honestly, this is a pause for the cause, so I can remember my steps. Usually before I make one, I kind of make it. I mime. I pretend I'm going through it. So right now I'm trying to do that in my mind. The mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Yes, Barbara, so the size does kind of make it a little more difficult. The larger the piece, it is a little more difficult to do that transfer by yourself, but it still is possible. That piece Todd did a little bit earlier, that would have been pretty difficult to punty by yourself, but it would have been possible. All right, so Bruce is getting his bench set up, kind of planning out his next steps. You can see the intensity in his eyes. Yeah, we thought it would be fun to have Bruce on the other side of the camera today. All right, so he hangs it up. Once again, just like the transfer, it's not hot enough to move, but it's hot enough where it doesn't crack.
Excuse me, guys.
Bruce is picking up green. He's off to the races, trying to pick up his color, making sure the pumpkin doesn't get too cold and crack. Thanks, Kristen, I'm trying. So he flashes that pumpkin just to give it a little bit of heat, a little bit of goose, we call it. He's melting in that green color on that small punty. All right. So now he's gonna drop that green into a smaller mold to give it ridges. I know, right? Two-handed flashing, Bruce. It's pretty good. Believe me, that's hard to do. It really is. All right. Drum roll.
He's crazy. They said it couldn't be done.
Not bad. That's right. Yeah, Bruce can really move when he wants to. So now he has just a small rod and he twists the stem.
Guess what?
I got everybody behind me helping out here. Todd and Foster kind of.
Help, huh?
Just a little bit of shaping with the tweezers. Yeah, that's thanks to Todd with the sound effects. He's got a little sound effects machine. Thank you, Todd. So there you go. That's your solo pumpkin. Pretty amazing. A little bit of chipping on the punty. And a light tap, and it separates. And there you go. Just that small punty mark on the bottom.
Oh, this is
you got
so
it? Thank you.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, we're...
All right.
And off it goes. Now I'm actually going to hand this off to Bruce.
Okay.
All right.
Are we going? Whoa! Are we going back on the gimbal?
Yeah, let's go back on the gimbal. Nice job, Bruce.
All
That
right.
was excellent, man.
So
Yay, Bruce.
bear with us a moment while we get this back onto the.
All right, so people might want to close their eyes for this.
This
It's
is-
gonna get shaky.
Yeah, you're gonna get. Look at the sweat stains on Josh's shirt.
I'm telling you. How's that?
Okay, let's turn it on. It's gonna spin. Don't worry. We're back.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go from upside down. Battery power seems to be a little bit better today. However, we are experiencing heat issues. Okay, so Todd's got to get his tools back in place. I got to get mine out of the way. Glassblowers can be a little finicky about their tools, but the ironic part of this is I'm probably one of the few people that Todd is happy to have use his tools and has no objection to it. But sometimes just the way the pair of shears cut in your hands, or not cut your hands, but feel in your hands as you cut, or your own jacks and that sort of thing can make a difference. So I'll go ahead and put more stuff back over there. And we'll get busy here with Todd in just a moment.
Getting busy with Todd.
Get busy with Todd. Okay, so he's going to make a gold and salmon colored sphere, and that'll be the next thing to come up. Yeah, I'm not getting any battery warnings. Maybe if we start to flutter or something here. Do that again. No, do the come on over again. Just like, okay, you see that move right there? One more time, because I got to tell them where that really worked out really well. So we were at a glassblowing festival down in Stanton, Virginia with our friend Doug Sheridan. And late at night, I entered a contest. First, they wanted us to blow with one eye patch on, which destroys your depth perception. But then they said, who is just whack enough to do it with two eye patches? And my hand went up.
And there might have been some alcohol involved.
No, it was just a contest. So Josh was my guide, and that move right there was apparently the funniest part of the entire thing, because he was trying to guide me to the bench and the furnace and the glory hole, and he would give those large sweeping motions with his arm. Come on over here, Bruce.
Follow my boy.
So while Todd's still setting up, okay.
So let's give just some slow pans of the shelf, show some people the work. We really don't get a chance to go
the Pointer
slow.
Sisters?
That's right.
Slow pans?
We don't really give people just the slow shots of the work and show them
Yeah.
some of the nice pieces
So we
have.
got quite a variety of in here. So this piece is particularly interesting, and you can see how the colors interplay as the light goes through. And it's basically just two colors, the cranberry pink and the teal, but as you move around and get light through it, or you're looking through both levels of the piece, you start to see purple bands and all sorts of other stuff. Here's a piece where the glass was feathered or raked and then twisted, and that's a really beautiful one right there. Somebody said they love the flowers on the second shelf. Flowers on the second shelf.
Here's a flower on the second shelf.
Here's one here.
Here's a neat little flower
Underneath a flowered paperweight. Yeah. And this is one of my favorites. This is Reticello. You can see the little bubbles in between the pieces, in between the canes rather. And that stuff is really beautiful. Here's another one that's been raked in a couple of directions, give it a nice floral look to it. Here's an interesting one. Perhaps we've got another that's in more light. It's got mica in it. You can just see those shiny things in there, so it's like little metal flakes which show up in the glass. We've got the pieces that have the holes built into them, but that's class. Doesn't go all the way through. Here's another piece with the canes and the bubbles and all kinds of beautiful stuff back here. This is a Murini piece where the little squares with the two colors were laid at 90-degree angles to each other for the pickup. So there's a lot of what we have in here. Here's another beautiful
So somebody,
one.
yeah, it was Sally that asked about feathering pieces, and this is an example of a feathered piece. Just a really interesting pattern. So I always tell people, if you've ever made brownies and you put icing on the surface and then use a toothpick and drag the surface. We just do that with 2,000-degree glass. We get it hot, we twist it, and then drag the surface with a metal tool to get those raking. So it just gives us a really beautiful effect where we can blend the colors.
Beautiful, absolutely. There's another beauty right here. And the same kind of treatment in a bowl. Lots of glass. So when you have an opportunity and can come by the gallery, this is what awaits you. Here's a beautiful Murini piece where the Murinis basically have an outer band of color and they surround a clear core. And that's what allows you to see those shapes there and look right on through the piece. What's that? I didn't know. Okay. Alrighty. So, lots to choose from and lots more in the catalog too. Okay.
Oh, there you go, yeah. See the light shining off of that's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, looks like Todd's ready to go.
Is Todd ready to go? All right. Well, let's
So,
come walk. Oh, you're not going to tell me to walk this way? Josh, grab a small iron, just a putty or anything. So before Todd starts, Josh is going to stand over here a little bit, and he's going to close his eyes.
There's no way, I'm not.
So this is what we did with the blindfolded glass blowing.
I'm sober, there's no way I'm not.
I was going to guide you to the furnace, but if you can imagine facing a 2,000-degree furnace with glass in it blindfolded and walking toward it, and somebody says 2 more paces. Okay, and oh, that's an even more beautiful example of the feathering. Look at the gold and green in that, and the pinks. Yeah, beautiful flower vase. Nicely done. Feathered to perfection. Okay. Well, here we go with
Bruce, if you were, there is pictures of that day.
Yes, there are.
And if you were brave, you would share those pictures with our Facebook
our
friends.
viewership. Yeah. All right. So we're going with a golden salmon sphere. Ah, so that's what Sally was talking about. That specific piece. Okay. So Todd's got his gather of clear glass. So as you can see, it's not essential to use the block in your initial shaping. By using the marver with a nice gentle touch, you can get the glass shaped just exactly like you want. Get the bubble started with nice even walls. And away we go. And that's actually a tough skill to develop. As you can imagine, holding that iron and turning it with no support other than your hands, and it's just supposed to touch the marver lightly and roll along nice and smooth. Very difficult to keep it from bobbling up and down. Now he's going to go ahead and make sure he's got the right size block for the job, and I believe Josh is getting ready to drop a trail on it. You doing a trail for him?
We're doing a trail, yes.
Is this going to be at the threader or free throw?
I don't know that. I haven't been sharing that information yet.
Okay. So now Todd will take another gather of glass.
This will be a feathered pattern.
Feathered pattern, okay. Will the trail be random or on the threader?
On the threader.
Okay. So for those of you that didn't see us with using what we call the threader before, it's this setup over here. This board that comes out has 2 wheels, 2 sets of wheels on it, and they are canted at a bit of an angle. They're not perpendicular to the board. And what this allows is as the iron is turned, the glass moves down away. So the whole iron goes to the right as we're looking at it, left for the glass blower. And then on this little setup over here, we put the iron that has the bit of clear color glass in it, and then that rests in one of those notches, and as the piece spins away from it, the trail goes on in a nice smooth pattern. So Todd has got his gold picked up. Here we are with the frit once more. And he will be heating that, melting it in, and in the meantime, Josh is shaping the glass. Are you going to case it?
Sorry?
Going to case it?
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to case it. So take a look at the shape he's got on this piece of glass right here. In just a few moments, he's going to gather up glass on that, and then he'll use the edge of his tweezers to peel it back. As the threader turns, the spin-off series. There you go. So Josh will now take a gather of glass, then he'll have a seat, and he'll start peeling the glass back toward the pipe. He doesn't want a really large coating on this. So now he'll take the tweezers and using the edge of the blade, just start pulling it back. And then you'll grab the tip and pull that out a little bit. See it? You see how that clear glass is all out there? And then he'll just clip that off so that he has the color with just a minimal clear coating on it. And what this will do is keep it from bleeding or spreading out as it's applied and then heated throughout the piece. So now they're going to coordinate between each other as to when the temperatures are just right. And Todd will come over first with the piece, set it up on the threading machine, and he's going to probably take that down to a little bit more of a cylindrical shape by marvering. See how he's angling the iron, and then he comes up a little bit, and as he goes through that process, he's going to get it to where he wants. Josh, in the meantime, is just keeping the thread hot. Yeah, David, it did look a little like one of those Pac-Man ghosts while he was pulling it. Pretty cool, huh? Todd wants the piece of glass that he has to be fairly stable when they do that. Josh, on the other hand, wants his piece very, very hot. So what he's doing with the tweezers now is just pinching off a little bit more of that clear, and then he'll cut it free and cut it to a nice sharp point so that it goes on. So now his glass will be very, very hot. If you've got any questions about what's going on, go ahead and ask. We're happy to answer them. We appreciate the likes and the shares, and of course the comments. The comments get you entered in our drawing, and the drawing for next week is going to be one of the starfish. So if you'd like a starfish, make your comments and your name will get entered. Okay, so it looks like he's going to be taking another gather over top of this, and this will separate the levels of color. He's stripping some off in the furnace, that's why he's letting the iron point down, but when he comes out, he'll take a good look at it. And if he wants any glass removed, now, we talked about this earlier, removing the unnecessary glass. So it's just a little bit of it. It wasn't a big glob, but now he's got just the right amount. If he'd have wound up a quart low on that, it's not like adding oil to your car. You'd be kind of out of luck as far as getting that back on there. So by taking off that little bit of glass, he's now able to have just what he wants. Shaping this with the block. And when he applies the thread, the piece will have more of a cylindrical shape. Yep, so his hot glass will move. There you go. HGM. CGD. Got to get a t-shirt with that on it. Yeah, and Ted Scott, that's a great comment. It also helps to even the glass out when you strip it off. By pointing the glass downward like that, gravity takes it around the entire circumference and pulls it down toward the floor. So if you did have a little bit of unevenness in the gather, it could help straighten it out. Notice that this is looking a lot more cylindrical than earlier when he was working on the blowing. So Todd's going to get that warmed up, ready to go. Getting everything set where he wants. He's got it on the threader. Now, as Todd turns, the piece will move down the rail toward the wall. We'll see that in a few moments. So Josh getting another heat. Antoinette says you look a little too comfortable there, Foster. You're quite comfortable. I was as comfortable as we can be in this heat. Okay. So Todd's back. He's got a pair of tweezers to break the thread free if it doesn't come off on its own. Okay. He's getting the placement set. Now here comes Josh. It'll go into the notch. They'll tag it up and Josh will pull back, and then Todd begins to turn. And as turning, you can see the thread going on, a nice beautiful spiral all the way down the piece. He can pick up the speed of rotation if he likes, and when he's done, it'll come down to the end and he'll break it off with his tweezers. And there it goes. Okay, well done, well done. Nice job there. Okay, so that's the use of the threader. And that is a trail, or a body trail we call it. And we can do those either a nice fine thin line like that is evenly distributed across the glass, or we can do a random one. If you watched our YouTube video at 10:30 local this morning, Foster used a random trail. So now, since we've got this more or less horizontal aspect to the thread, Todd will be able to reach onto those with the hooking tool and pull them back in order to feather. You've seen him do this before, but not quite as often with a thread. If we take a frit and gather it up and twist it into lines that go around the circumference of the glass, we hook or rake those threaded lines. This time it will be the lines of the applied trail. We'll flip it over and then pull it down. And the key here is to not to go too deep. This is just like a surface treatment. Now what's interesting is you can watch as he plays with the geometry of it and the heat here. When he brings it out, the side he wants to rake will hang down a little bit. Then he'll flip it over, and as it falls back toward the floor, it winds up in line with the pipe. So if you recall when he made his piece earlier today, I mentioned how it was a really cool move to angle the pipe so the glass didn't fall as far. Well, he's doing the same sort of thing right now. He angles the pipe up, and as it falls, it gets in line with the pipe. So here he goes, he flips it. Now watch that glass fall back toward the ground, but staying in line with the pipe instead of going 90 degrees. And he'll have one more to do in that direction. Will you be going the opposite way also? Okay, so he's going to rake in both directions. So he'll get his first four established here. There he goes with the last one. You can see that nice delicate touch, bringing it all the way back through the surface, okay? So all of that work actually kind of pushed the glass up on the pipe a little bit, but it's not an issue. Simply hanging it down right now, gravity is pulling it away a little bit. If he likes a little bit of marvering, perhaps another heat, then this will stretch it out just a little longer. So we can see the four lines in there and the curve that they create in the pattern. Now the next set of raking is the harder part. This is the trickier part. So when we start learning how to rake, we stop right there. We don't put any more into it. Then we gradually work up to this next step. Now he has to pull from the pipe toward the tip of the piece. And as he does that, the piece is not going to want just fall toward the ground, it's going to elongate. So he'll be pulling it out. Again, he'll hang down, he'll flip it and start dragging it, but he'll probably only drag about halfway and go to the other side. Now he can go back for more heat and extend those a little further if he likes. So again, the pointing of the iron upward at about 45 degrees is what really controls the fall of the glass here. He points it up and he starts taking that line and dragging it a little further. If he needs a little more heat, just go back and get some. Taking it nice and easy, moving nice and slow. Now you can also bring it to the bench, again, angling the pipe, and then just dragging it up. So he'll get enough heat and work on this, and he's got some colors here that are a little stiff, and is that, what color is the wrap?
Salmon pink.
Salmon pink.
Or aurora gold, depending on the age of the bar you got.
Oh, okay.
But my near vision's not what it used to be.
He's still going to take his time and get those two lines pulled up to where they're very nearly at the end of the piece. Then he'll do the other two. So you can see where he's working. You can see where the raking stopped. There's a little nub. He grabs that, He grabs the one on the other side and pulls and brings them around to just about meeting where they will meet. Okay, so there we go. So he's got that done. Now it's time for two more in that direction. Going to back up just a little bit here so we don't get the camera too hot, but we'll be sure to get in there so you can see what's being done. He brings it out and he rakes from the pipe toward the tip, but only about halfway up the piece. If were he to go through the whole piece, the piece would deform quite a bit. Now he'll get some more heat on it. All right, so that little bit of burning you saw was where the hot iron hit the wood that's the side of the frame of the bench. But not to worry, it's not a problem. However, over here on the bench that Josh and I primarily work at, we're getting close to burning enough off of here that the screws are not going to be holding the wood. So, oh yeah, I heard the birds. We got something going on here with notification. All right. Now with more heat, he grabs that point where he had stopped before and brings it around to where they meet at the bottom. It is very tricky, Joanna. It's a tough skill to learn. He'll bring all four of those together at the bottom and then he'll pull them out a bit with the shears and then flip it off so that there's no rough edge down there or a joint that shows up completely different. He's still got a good bit of shaping to do here, but then once he gets this into the sphere, he'll be on his way. If you're interested in any of the pieces we make, they're available online at artofire.com. You can email us, you can go to the online site and make your purchases. You can call us at 301-253-6642, and we'll be glad to make things for you. We're still going to be continuing these broadcasts for a while, so these are custom-made pieces right here that Todd has made today, part of an order. If you'd like to, is he using one of the space-age gloves so he can tolerate the heat up close? I'm not sure if that's an UV glove or not. Is that an UV glove? Yes, it's an UV glove. Yep.
I got it from Santa.
Got what?
I got it from Santa.
Oh, okay. There you go. Okay.
I had a card to prove it.
Yeah, so he wears a glove when he's up close like that because his hands are so very close to the heat. If he were to bring the piece back to the bench to work it like that, he'd lose a lot of the heat and it'd be very difficult to rake. So there's one instance where we actually might wear a glove. And of course we wear gloves when we put the pieces away. But in between, no, we don't very often wear gloves. Not many glass blowers do. And really, gloves can be more dangerous than not having a glove on, because the glove will hold the heat in and your hand can start to burn before you know it from the transmitted heat. Todd now is reshaping the glass. Notice the angle of the iron right there on the edge of the table. That's what made it push away from the pipe. Now he's getting the other end of it marvered in. And he's got that nice kind of diamond shape. So much forethought goes into pieces. Do you ever just start a piece without a definite plan? Just see where the glass takes you? No, but we do say that when one gets away from us. We always have a plan when we start. And then when the plan goes south is when we turn around and say, I'm just letting the glass take me where it wants. Oh, I don't need a tip. I'm going to keep working.
There we go.
Oh my goodness! Now I'm getting battery warnings. Let's see if they've got the. Oh, okay, yeah.
Just blow smoke.
Okay.
You about to run out of battery life?
I was going to see if we had the battery back up. Let me wander over here. These other guys are just
Battery not back up.
taking a bit of a vacation. Hey, fellas. Hey, we're live. We're live.
Hey!
Well, I'm getting notifications about the battery life.
What are we down to?
It didn't say. And I'm not getting an indication on the screen. But if we've got the
Let me check.
pack,
You want to stay still? Okay, you're okay.
29%.
Yeah, I think you're okay, Bruce. I think
Okay.
you will make it.
Uh-huh.
Famous last words.
If you remember, he told us that when we were 25% a week ago and we had to change, or 2 weeks ago. But that's all right. All right, again, the pipe down, the glass elongates off the area toward the pipe, and notice how he's changed the angle gradually, came up to horizontal, and now pointed more downward in a nice round shape there. You can see the feathering in that. Google if you want to ask that question, but I'm sure one of our viewers will be glad to tell us. I bet there's a difference in the diameter of a professional basketball and a college ball. Maybe not. Actually, I have a good friend who makes a lot of glass, and he refers to having an oblate spheroid because it's actually not completely round, okay? And that's more the shape of the earth. Okay, I think he's getting close to his diameter. Oh my goodness, Barbara Spitzner says 9.43 to 9.5 inches.
That's okay.
Barbara Gould Belsner. Okay, well, hey, shows what I know about basketball.
Well, your sizing's just off.
I would like to see somebody shooting free throws with a 14-inch basketball. I think that would be so funny.
Well,
I think we need to make one.
14-inch basketball?
Yeah. Notice Todd's still blowing it out. He's getting his diameter and his shape set. Nice curved profile to it.
Pretty good.
Okay. So now we're going to get the cheater on it. Dr. Google helped Barbara out. That's all right. Oh, Scott Farrell tells me that 14-inch ball is a kickball. I believe that. So there's the cheater bit, or the button on the bottom to protect the bottom when we take it off the putty. There's enough heat in that Todd gets the flattening started. Now what's interesting is he'll be heating up the piece, and they're going to paddle the piece flat on the bottom. But you can't control your heat in terms of just a 1/4 inch here or a 1/4 inch there gets hot and it's cold next to it. So what you do when you wind up heating this bottom to flatten it is you're heating more glass than you really want to. But what you can do to compensate for that is blow, and he's still got the blow hose on, and use a hand tool to shape the piece and keep it from collapsing from the pressure that's applied to the bottom. So Josh will be stepping in with the paddle in just a moment. Todd has the paper. Todd's also blowing now. So what he's trying to do is make sure that where Josh is pressing the glass inward is restricted to just that small diameter at the bottom. And that left him that beautiful curved profile coming down. So now you can see a really spherical shape. So the newspaper cooled the glass, held it in shape. The air blowing into it kept it from pushing in too much, actually. It was like back pressure. He didn't have to blow hard. Now Josh is going to cool this putty again in the pipe cooler, and when he goes over here for the attachment, you'll be able to see that he gets very, very close to holding the putty iron up close to the glass. It gives him much better leverage. So we've got beautiful curvature on that. Todd will place the putty. And as he turns the iron, he can move the putty up or down if it's a little off center. The Sophietta cools the joint. He's blowing right where the shape jack.
It's right there.
No.
You grab jacks.
Oh,
Grab jacks. Hold the neckline. Okay, so this part of the operation is really kind of interesting. We'll explain it after it happens, but watch. A little bit of water. Foster squeezes. And off it goes. Okay. So the jacks actually played a very important part in that. They limited the vibration from traveling down the piece of glass. When the vibration of Todd hitting the iron traveled down to where the jacks were holding it at the neckline, the vibration stopped there, broke the piece free. Bruce, could you make this piece on your own too? I don't know. It'd probably be pretty tough, but we could try it sometime. I probably wouldn't start out with it that diameter.
I gotta stop hollering because I'm getting competitive. Let's open with the jacks and paddle, and then I'll see if I
Lots of times if you're trying to work solo and make bigger pieces, keeping the heat in the glass is the big issue. Bridget asked if I could make that solo.
I bet you could. You'd be on your toes a good bit, but
I mean, I'd have to practice it, but actually that one is a lot more enjoyable to do with help. Because you notice how he's moved it back and forth in the heat, and having someone to help you, especially like when he flattened it, for instance, he had to have the paddle against the bottom, the paper against the sides, turning the pipe and blowing air. That's probably more hands than I have. All right, so now he'll open that up a little bit just to give him some room. The paddle is on there to kind of flatten the lip some. Josh is going to take a reheat for him. Now Todd's putting on an old athletic sock that has the toe cut out of it, and that's going to protect his arm on this next set of moves, because he's going to be reaching in there. His arm's going to be very close to a large piece of glass, which is going to generate a lot of heat.
You got this time. Figured it out.
You want to puff it out?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Getting ready.
So Josh has picked up the straight Sophietta in case Todd wants some air in it. But right now, with that sleeve protecting his arm and Josh using the paddle to protect his wrist from the radiant heat, he's able to get the jacks in there and open it up. Now from the size of the hole he's made in there, the opening that is, my guess is if he blows this out, he'll use this curved Sophietta, which has a rather large cone on it.
No, the real question is how lightheaded you're going to get when you puff this out.
Yeah, let's do this. Be ready. It's down 9-1. Just wait for the other one.
All right, he's got the large Sophietta. Josh is shielding his hands, and we can just see the shape rounding out up top. So he's got a little bit of an indentation, the curvature from the Sophietta, but he can pull that out with the tools, okay? So he's working his way up the piece with the roundness and the shaping. So he's got the shoulders inflated some, and he can pull that out a little more. Yeah, I'm kind of losing the, whoa, sorry. Damn, get it off of me. Come on, help me out there. There we go. That's just in a really bad spot. Where I am. So he's using the jack blades just like a potter would a pair of fingers to pull that glass up and out a little bit and flattening. And there we have that beautiful spherical shape. Josh is getting the gloves on. We'll be taking this off in a moment here.
All right, Jim.
Now we got a beautiful spherical shape. Nice. The colors will show up beautifully after it's annealed. Todd will put a little bit of water into the joint between the punting and the bottom of the piece. Tap it free, and into the annealer it goes.
Awesome. Thank
And
you.
there you have it. Marvelous. Great job, Todd. Let's hear it for Todd. That was amazing. Great work, guys. Okay, there we go. All righty. So that's how you go about making a sphere. It doesn't look like a sphere at a couple points, but we got right on at 1 o'clock. How about that? All righty.
And more importantly,
What's that?
well, I shouldn't jinx it. The camera lasted.
Yes,
right? The
we
phone
did.
lasted.
We did get to the end of the show. I'll hand it to you. Okay. So there you have it. And remember, we can give you gift certificates if you want to order those. Order any pieces you like. Get your comments in so that you can be entered in a drawing for the little starfish. What are we looking for?
You're good. There you go.
Okay, so that was amazing work. Here's some of the stuff we have from the red, white, and blue for the, yes, he does leave it open at the top, for the 4th of July. And we'll have some other things in store for you next week. So thanks for joining us. Have a great week. We'll see you later.